It took around 3 months to create, and they seemed to like it very well. So they called for the next round, and the top 20 students were then selected. So from 60K students all over from India, uh, top 20 then remain. And then for the top 20, they had organized an interview for a position related to data science field and the cloud engineering field. And in that interview, I had appeared, and actually it was very tough interview, to be frank, but I was able to clear that. I got a call, and that's how it went. I will be going over the questions and more details about what exactly goes on in these technical interviews later on in this session. But that was my journey for the placement that I had.
Thank you,
Yeah. So
Aniket. Okay.
yeah, Aniket, actually, we have received some, while we were taking some responses from the student via Google Forms, we got some questions that are related to you. Students have asked that how to clear the technical round and how are the questions, what are the questions that were exactly asked to you in the technical round. So first, we will complete up with the technical discussion and then move on to the other contestants. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So, as you mentioned about the technical round, there is actually a lot to talk about technical rounds, because whatever you learn in 1 or 2 years, all of it has to be applied in 30 or 40 minutes. So, for me, the questions asked were based on the projects that I did. One of it was on Angular. So the guy asked me the life cycle of Angular and what is the starting component of Angular. And to give you an overall idea of the difficulty level there, they were not asking the common questions there, because it was a little different job role. And other questions were from machine learning. They were kind of moderate questions. And for technical rounds, I would like to say that there is a lot of preparation that goes into technical rounds. So once you clear your first 2 rounds, that is either aptitude or coding, then you have your technical rounds. So my advice for you guys for technical rounds would be, the way you prepare is going to be a lot crucial than you think, because in technical rounds they are going to ask any random question, and their luck plays a good part whether you do know that answer or not. So in order to make sure that you are able to say the things even in a conceptual level, you need to make sure that whenever you are trying to learn something, make sure that you are first ready with the prerequisites of that particular technology. So I will elaborate on this particular topic of prerequisites more, because it has proved to be a very underrated topic of prerequisites. We all think that we do know the prerequisites before going on to any course or any language per se. So in my case, let's say a guy is going to learn machine learning. So the prerequisites in that case are probability, calculus, and statistics. So, and most of us will think that, okay, I know probability, I have learned it in school. But that's actually not the case, because we think we know it, but in reality, we do not know it. And we do not know where to apply what concepts as well. And to give you an example, one of my friend who was learning machine learning, and he said that I had a question that was asked to me by a teacher. It was regarding the prerequisites of machine learning, and I could not answer it. So if so, I'm what I'm gonna do now is going to ask all of you guys the same question, which was from probabilities, which is considered to be learned in 8th standard or 10th standard, so as to know that where we stand in prerequisites and do we need to work on them going back to the basics or not. So the question was something like this. The question was from basic probabilities. So let's say there are all the men in this world are gathered together in one place. All the men are gathered together, let's say in front of your house. Now, what you do is randomly pick any person, any man, and tell him to come forward. Now, there is a description about that particular man, that that person is shy and he's an introvert, and also he's a good listener. So you know only these much things about the man. Now the question is, and I want you all guys to answer in the chats as well, so that you can reflect upon your own thinking. So the question uh, is the guy more likely to be a librarian or more likely to be a farmer? Librarian or a farmer? So that's the question. If you guys can answer in the chat, that will be great. Don't be afraid that it will be wrong or right. Just go with the flow and think what you think. There are all the men in the world gathered in one place. You choose any random person, and the description about that person is he is a shy and introvert person, and he is a good listener. Is he more likely to be a librarian, or is he more likely to be a farmer? I'm gonna look at the answers in the chat right now. Okay, a lot of people are saying librarian. Okay, all right, all right, all right. Okay, so for all of those people, I think most of them have answered librarian. Sorry to break it out to you that librarian is not the right answer. One of the people are getting closer to the answer, but we do not have the time for broad discussion right now. So the answer is farmer. Why? Because when answering this question in probabilities, the probability of a farmer is more likely here. The reason is the number of farmers there in this world are far more greater than the number of librarians that exist in the world. And this is something that we did not consider when answering this question. And this, my friends, are the first rules of probability. And it is called the Bayes theorem. And it states that it has to take into account the number of people in that sample. So although you some of you were right in the sense that the particular description matches a lot more with a librarian. So let's say 90% of the librarians will match this description, and only 30% of the farmers will match that description. But since the number of farmers is far more greater than the number of librarians, farmers dominate in the number and the probability as well. So the whole point of asking you this question was to rethink about your prerequisites. And it is very important when you appear for some interviews or some high level profiles. They will catch you on the basics much more than the advanced things. So that was actually a very long discussion on just on prerequisites. But I want you to make sure that whenever you learn something, make sure you do know the prerequisites and from the right sources as well. So that was about technical rounds in a glance. And yeah, we are good to move ahead.
Okay, Aniket. Thank you so much. So now moving on with other topic, which is being said by the Nihar More. So Nihar More has done internships in Hacker.io, CollegeTips.in, Desinolix Web and Software Solutions. He has also got offers from the TCS Ninja, Coditas, QSpiders, and Jaro Education. So Nihar will be speaking on the topic human resource round and the managerial round and personal experience. Over to you, Nihar.
Yeah, hello. Thank you, Shreyas. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, Nihar, you're audible.
Okay, so the thing is that I am going to talk about here about HR rounds, MR rounds, and my personal experience. So there were some of the questions that we have received while taking the registrations. One of the questions like how are the placement processes? How do they work? So basically, there is the first round, that is the aptitude round. In that, there will be basic aptitude questions. It will be MCQ questions. Every company takes those questions, and as due to COVID times, in present situation, the most of the exams are taken online. Sometimes if the companies are eligible, then they take these exams offline too. So in these aptitude sessions, there are logical reasoning questions, mathematical questions, English verbal questions, like that. So these are the basic aptitude questions. So after you clear the aptitude round, you will be selected for the interview round. Now, what do some of the companies do? Some companies take first the technical round, and after that they take the HR round. And other companies, what do? They take all the rounds in once. So it happened to me in both ways. So talking about my HR round, HR round, the name itself means human resource. So it defines that how are you as a resource, as a human being. So that's the main thing. The questions that were asked to me, were like, first, of course, they will ask you about what about yourself, tell me about yourself, and like that. So in this, what you have to do is that tell about yourself, but not like very broad. You have to make things shorten and tailor the answers on the basis of company. So I have given interviews of technical as well as non-technical companies. So talking about non-technical company, Jaro Education was one of it. They are like a marketing-based company. So the package was like about what was the package was about 6.5. Okay, so what did happen there? That in my first round of the HR round, they didn't have any technical round as it's a non-technical company. So yeah, in the first HR round, the question that was asked to me was, can you tell me five benefits of drinking alcoholic products? So in my case, I didn't have much experience about it. Like I have rarely tried, or I have rarely researched on some knowledge like that. So what did I do? I did just confront it to the interviewer that I don't know about it much. Yeah, so he said it's fine, no worries. Let me change my question. So next thing is he asked this, tell me five uses of pen. So he told that he will give me a minute, and after that, he have to continuously speak about 5 points for using a pen. So he gave me the minute, and after that, I started. I told him that it's used for writing, drawing. Also, we use pen fight in while playing games, like that. Women can also use pen as a defense, and there are also virtual design tools which are in shape of a pen, which can be used to make drawings and like that. And yeah, like that, I went continuous. The He just checked my confidence level and my speaking skills, that I am able to give my answers in a proper manner, in a proper tailored way. So that was my experience from Jaro Education's first round. And after that, I was selected for the final round. In the final round, the question that the HR person asked me, that it's a very classic question. He asked that there is a pen which costs for about 10,000 rupees, and you have to sell that pen to a lower class housewife. So, as many of you must have watched the movie Wolf of Wall Street, the same question Leonardo DiCaprio gave to his friend, that try to sell me this pen. So, first, I had a very casual attitude. So, I like most of us would try to like tell the other person like the what are the features of this pen, ये सब करता है, ये सब इसमें अलग अलग है, ये इसकी refill इतना टिकेगी and all that. So the interviewer was like, yeah, okay, can you think in a deep manner, or can you think uniquely about the question? So I asked him, yeah, can I get a minute? So after that, I thought, and I get this link to the movie. Then I answered that this current sales situation won't be possible. So he asked me why. So I told that there isn't a demand for it. Like a lower class wife, housewife will does not have demands like he she wants to buy a 10,000 rupees pen they have many more needs other than that. So in that case, I said, here is no demand for the pen, so there won't be a supply. As we know, demand and supply goes hand in hand with each other. So the interviewer was very happy with the question, was very happy with my answer, and I also told that if we focus on any higher class or middle class people, and if we grow some sales over in that portion, then it will be beneficial as the like reach will be grown by the of reach of the pen will be more like that. So yeah, and that's how I got selected for it. Other than that, in my other technical companies interview, like I have given HR round for TCS. Yeah, in TCS, the HR round, PR, technical round, and managerial round, they were all together in single at a single time. So in my HR round, they asked me about like generally about yourself and about my projects. So one thing is that your final year project and your other projects too, but your final year project is given more importance. So it must be very unique very unique and something that has been never repeated. Okay, it should be innovative. So if your project is innovative, then like take that you have cleared 50% of your interview and talk about it, like you just brag about your project. It will be fine, there's no issue. Like they won't say कि क्या फेंक रहा है भाई, अपनी बड़ाई मार रहा है ऐसा वैसा. So they will just listen and they will ask you some questions about it. Now if you have done your project in a mannerly way and you know about it, you have research about it, then you can answer the questions easily. Other thing is the HR only asked me about this. The managerial round. Yeah, the managerial round person was only focused on one question, which he asked me three times. That if you got a job location at any different location, will you be able to accept it? So I was without any like बिना झिझक मैंने बोल दिया कि yeah, I will accept it. There is no issue to me. So after that, he again asked that will your parents give permissions for it, as you have to stay there for a particular period of time and all that. So I answered that yeah, it's all fine. I have no issue. My parents also have no issues. So the thing is, be confident and answer your questions. So at later stage, you will definitely be given the choice to prefer your location uh, take the location that you want. So उतना सब पे ध्यान मत दो, बस कॉन्फिडेंटली आंसर करे जाओ. And the last, talking about Coditas, yeah. So in Coditas, there was a person who take my HR and managerial round together. So basic started always with that, tell me about yourself. And after that, he asked me some questions like, if imagine there is a building, there is a tall building, and you have to calculate what is the height of the building. Then tell me like one or two methods by which you will calculate the building. So now I took a minute from him. I thought about it, and my answer was like he has given me a hypothetical situation. Now he has told me his questions. Now I can also modify that question in hypothetical ways. So he has given me his questions and boundaries and limitations. So now it's on me that how can I turn this question. So what did I do? I said that if there is a tall building, then there must be a lift inside it. Okay. So if there is a lift, always, as we know, in generally in most of the lifts, there are details mentioned in the lift, like total number of capacity, total weight that can be taken, and also other the description of lift, that what is the height of the lift, width, and all the measurements like that. So I told that he didn't wanted me an like correct estimate, exactly right estimate of the height. He told me that approx would be also enough. So I told that I will count the number of floors, and I will take a random. I will take height of the lift and add it up, count it up to the number of floors, and approximately decide the size of the building. Yeah, that's it. And we'll add some like normal considerable top floor is the terrace, as lift doesn't goes to the terrace. So yeah, he was like, okay, yeah, that's a good answer. Nice guy. So yeah, that was my view from the three companies that I gave interviews to, and that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Nihar, for your wonderful experience. So, continuing with that, I invite Kshitij Patel to speak on the further topic. He has done internship in Mecatol Solutions. Teesside University UK, and Hercules Hoist. He has also got an offer from TCS Ninja and has a startup named Cross 3D. So Sitij will be speaking on the topic tips on how you can join in IT company being in non-IT field, startups and also personal experience. Over to you, Sitij.
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Kshitij. I'm basically from mechanical branch of our college. So I'm here to share you about how from being a mechanical branch I got into the IT industry, IT field, got offer from TCS, and also I'm here to share a bit tips and experience about how I started my startup, how I built it, and how it's going on. So first starting with the placement. First, I would like to just tell everyone from the other branches like mechanical or civil. We like to think that our branch is a very different branch from IT field. We don't need to learn coding. But let me just tell you guys, as the world is changing, and in the real life, every project is multidisciplinary. Okay, so you can't work on a real life project without having involvement of all the different branches. So if when a guy from mechanical engineering says that he doesn't want to learn coding because that's not part of his branch, you are only limiting yourself, because as a mechanical engineer, our role right now in the world is changing. We are not just there to oversee a plant or help in developing a product. We are also involved in making those lines more efficient, and making those supply lines more efficient means using new technologies, AI and machine learning. These kinds of technologies are used currently in factories. So as a mechanical engineer, if you don't understand how those technologies work, you are going to basically lag behind. So don't think that coding is a separate part. It's a part of your journey becoming an engineer, because as an engineer you have to solve problems, and you can't solve new different problems if you are restricting yourself and telling and basically not learning new things. So apart from this, now about my journey, how I got into TCS. So I had actually like a bit of coding background, because in 11th, 12th, I took the CS stream, so I knew C++, and even in first year we have C language. So coding wasn't something new to me, but you could say during mechanical engineering, my basic touch was gone. But even with that, we had few professors who were basically sharing projects of how machine learning was used in supply chain in Ford, and different for identifying different flaws in manufacturing. So I was always basically looking for different opportunities of how mechanical engineering and you could say machine learning are implemented. So I was always in touch with that technology. So when the opportunity for different IT companies came, so TCS wasn't even my first company. I first cracked the Infosys InfyTQ exam during in 2020, but I couldn't clear the second round of examination, because it was in Python, and at that time I didn't really know Python. But then when the TCS opportunity came in late 2020, I basically practiced with my friends all the aptitude. And for coding, I used to just there are very many video lessons on YouTube which you can go through, and just that was more than enough for me to clear the TCS first stage, that is the aptitude exam. After that, in all the, like Nihal told, our HR round, MR round, and technical round is conducted at the same time. So me, I was personally initially asked like coding related questions. I could answer a few, but after a certain points, the questions were basically I didn't know them. So I would like to advise you guys that don't lie in an interview. If certain questions are out of your technical reach, just tell them. Like there were a few questions of coding that I didn't know, so I just told them that currently I don't have the knowledge of that domain, so I can't answer this that question. And they are the interviewers are already, they know that you are a fresher and you are from different branch, so they don't really expect you to be knowing everything, but they do want to see uh, you know what kind of what kind of approach you are taking during an interview. Are you just trying to divert a question and not straightly answering? So I would advise you to be be straight, be honest with your answers. After that, they even asked me questions related to my own domain regarding mechanical engineering. And after that, in managerial round, I was not asked anything particular, but more real life, like when you are joining a job, what kind of documents is required. And one of the questions that he asked me was, since you are from mechanical, and suppose TCS doesn't give you training for 1 or 2 months before joining, and you have to join immediately and start a project. What would you do? and would you even accept it? So these are kind of questions you could get if you are from different branch, basically. And apart from that, HR questions were pretty basic. Are you willing to relocate? Can you work the different shifts? And this was like, it's a simple interview. Don't get too nervous about it, because when it's a mass hiring like TCS and InfyTQ from Infosys, they know that students from all different branches apply, and everyone has varying you could say technical skills. So they aren't really trying to put you down. They know as a fresher what to expect from a person, and they will only ask questions at that level. So you don't have to really worry about that. Apart from so basically my placement process was pretty smooth. I just gave the exam, cleared the interview, I got the offer letter. So apart from this, what I was called here to share was my startup experience. So basically, I have a startup named Cross 3D. It's a 3D printing firm. I provide 3D printing service to different companies. I also undertake rapid prototyping projects where I help in designing and making different iterations of the prototype. So this journey started in first year itself. During after our first WAP, we had made a model of a combat tank in Katia. So just for the exhibition, we wanted to do something more with that. We didn't want to just present the 3D model in the software. So we started asking our professors, and one of them suggested to 3D print our model. We can 3D print our model. It was a new technology for us that time in first year. So basically, we researched all over the internet and somehow found a guy in Mumbai who basically helped us get our project 3D printed. And when we presented it in the exhibition, almost like 90% of our question were not about the design we did, but about 3D printing. So and we saw that this technology is new and everyone is interested. So basically, after that, I researched 3D printing a lot. I started to learn about it. I attended workshops and any online event that I could get. So it was then, I guess in third year, then it was like after I came back from UK, I knew that I wanted to do something more. Like I just didn't want to just go through the papers and just projects. I wanted to do something more with the time I have. And what we most of us do, like when we think of starting a company, what we do think is we want everything to be perfect. We keep planning it. Okay, no, I am going to start a company. I need to plan this. I need to plan this. I need this. I need funding. I need this. So what I would advise is don't over plan it. Don't try to get everything perfect at the start. Just set up a basic framework and start. That's what I did. I got funding from my parents. I got few 3D printers. I knew how to run them. Like for a month, I basically honed my skills, and after that, just before the pandemic, I started my 3D printing firm. Started getting good orders, but after that pandemic came. Even during the pandemic, I took the opportunity to make face shield, different COVID productive models. So with changing time, you have to adapt accordingly. And even right now it's really going well. I keep getting multiple orders from different companies, and regarding rapid prototyping, regarding 3D, just for 3D printing as well. So just what my advice would be, don't try to get everything perfect at the start. Just set up a basic framework, start, and then basically learn. Don't stop learning basically when you're doing anything. That's it from my side. Basically, if you guys have any question regarding my startup or my TCS journey as well, I'm free to ask. Yeah, that's it from my side. If there are any questions, I would answer them right now.
Okay, thank you, Sitish. So now it's open for the Q&A session. So, just anyone has any question, then you can ask. They will answer you.
Hello, Kshitij.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, Kshitij, actually, we had got a question while registration that what were the questions that were asked to you while attempting interview for an IT company? What mechanical branch related questions were asked to you?
Okay. So I have the list. So I will tell you all the questions that I was asked in technical. First of all, I was actually asked you the general question. You are from mechanical branch. Why do you want to get into the IT domain? So I had done my homework basically, and I knew TCS undertakes because TCS is more of a consultancy company. So they have multiple projects on different domains. So I knew they were working on automation lab with Hyundai and different companies. I had gone through their website. So after I answered this question, they asked me first what are pointers, arrays, difference between arrays and linked list, basic questions. And after that, when I couldn't answer those questions, the mechanical questions were basically, why do we use lubricants? What are the real world application of trusses? Difference between impact, impulse, and momentum. Then the further discussion went on the projects that I did in CAD, the CATIA project, SolidWorks, and the ANSYS project that I had done. Also, my project that I had done in Teesside University during my fellowship. Uh, so yeah, these were the questions that I was asked in the TCS interview.
Thank you, Kshitij. There is one question like that is how to attempt competitive coding and what kind of languages can we prefer for technical coding rounds and competitive coding. Uh, Aniket, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, sure. So as I said earlier, if you are done with your basic knowledge of any one language, or let's say your basic data structures and algorithms, then you can go for competitive coding as well. And it is very competitive, like in the name itself. So you need to be strategic about what you do. Talking about the language first, there is no such barrier which language you should choose, but there is very simple rule that there are basically three options for you: C++, Python, and Java. If you really want to go forward in the field of data science, you can go with Python. If you are interested in operating systems and desktop applications, you can go forward with C++, and rest is Java. That is for related to Android as well. So that is about the languages part. And talking about how we can actually prepare for competitive coding, there is actually a really precise plan on what questions you should prepare. So I think you must have heard of Lead Code, the website Lead Code. Actually, there are a lot of questions. Actually, about 2000 questions are there, so you are not going to be able to do all of them. So just Google for Lead Code patterns, and you will get a questions list that will be curated just on the basis of the coverage of all topics and coverage of all difficulty levels: easy, medium, and hard. And it will be a concise list which will be around 300 questions that you can actually solve in a span of, let's say, 5 to 6 months. Note that this is a very patient process. You need to be very patient, and you need to solve as much as you can in that list. So that's about competitive coding. But always make sure that first you are done with your basics of operating system, networks, and DSA. Then only you go for competitive coding. So always keep that in mind. uh, and apart from that, as Nihar and Kshitij explained their personal experiences very well, I would just like to add one more thing, that there are a lot of mistakes that I did that I would like to share. I think you guys will get a lot of help from that as well. So one of the mistakes that I did was, actually I did that mistake once, and I corrected that mistakes in the recent interview that I had. So whenever we apply for any company, let's say especially for TCS and Wipro, by the time you get to the interview, your application form, or your details or your resume is stored in their database, and whenever you go for the interview, they look at that resume. So by that time, a lot of time has passed, and you have added more skills, more projects, and more courses on your resume. So you do need to update that resume. But what happens is, with these companies, there is no way you can update that resume. So what you need to do is, and I forgot to do this in one of my interviews, but in recent interviews I was able to do this. So I'm really happy for that. Basically what I did was, I told them, sir, before we start the interview, I request you to please look at my relevant resume. The previous resume that you have with you is not relevant right now. It is a year old. So if you look at the new resume, that will be really fine. So if you ask that politely, they will look at your latest resume, and these little things happen, and they help you really. They help you a lot in the interview. So that is one of the things that I wanted to share.
Yeah, there is one more question that is related to what are the weightage of internships and project in placement, and and does electronics field have a future scope? So I would like to answer that. Yeah, so according to me, about the first question, internships do really matter. Okay, whether it's technical or non-technical internship, there is no worries about that. So like that, as I said that interviews, you can get interview from technical company as well as non-technical company. So you just have to tailor your resume according to the company. As Aniket said, it's very important to keep your resume up to date. Yeah. So while my non-technical company's interview was scheduled, the resume that I shared was that all the non-technical internships that I did. So basically, I did basically I did internship in digital marketing and graphic and video development related to it. So as you know, as Jaro Education was marketing related company, I tailored my resume on basis of that, all the marketing stuff that I have did and all that, and I sent it to them. And in the technical company, so in technical company, I had done technical internships like uh, Android app development internship, web development internship I have done. So I tailored it according on basis of that, and I did my project. So projects, as I said, it plays a very important role from not only from to the end, start to end. The projects do matter a lot. So tell about your projects a lot. Yeah, and about the other question about the electronics field, so I am from electronics field. So talking about the future scope in electronic field, I will say that there is a vast scope, and in current situation, there is no nothing like core company. Companies try to expand themselves in every direction they want to. They will get profit. In every direction, they will expand themselves. So it's like not only they will ask you to do electronics works only, but they will also ask you to do some technical coding work. If you know something about it, they will also tell you to work in data entry work too also. Sometimes they will ask to design some graphics and will, so you need to be like you should be able to fit in everyone's shoes. So it's like that. So how much you're multitasking and in multiple experiences, that matters a lot. So yeah, and in electronics field, it expands in future scope like robotics, machine learning, AI. There is a lot of scopes in IoT also. There is a lot of scope. Yeah, so that's it from my side. If there is any other question, you can put it in the chat box, or you can speak on it.
Actually, I had a question. So, talking about internship, I have done three internships in cybersecurity. So, if I want to apply in any other field like AI and ML, so will that internship be of any profit for me? Like, will they have any value for applying?
Yeah, of course, bro. As you said, you have done in cybersecurity as well as in AIML. So as you see, both the fields are growing and developing fields, right? So you can apply both knowledge into a single field also. Like machine learning and AI can also be used in cybersecurity field to like enhance the performance of some systems and like that. Definitely, it will be a like a win and win situation for you if you mention it in your resume. There is one more question. What type of internship can we do for comms brand? So, Aniket, can you answer,
Yeah, sure.
or should I? Yeah, yeah, go on.
Yeah. Actually, I think the guy that asked the question previously, I think he wants to go into the AIML field and he has internships from cybersecurity. I think that's what he was asking. So, anyways, if you are going into the field of AI ML and you do not have any relevant experience of AI ML, still it is fine. But you do need to consider that there are more things you can do apart from internship that will help you get there, which is like there are many competitions held online on Kaggle. You can practice and go and secure some rank and maybe showcase that if you don't have relevant internship in that field. So that is always that what you can do. But as far as your cybersecurity field experience, I think that is very crucial and very rare, I would like to say. So always keep that in your arsenal. And about the other question, internship in first year. I would like to say just chill out in first year. Starting from second year, anyways, so in second year you can start applying for internship. I don't think you should go for them in first year. First try to build up some knowledge, and also do some other extracurricular activities. But from second year you can start applying for internship right away, and try to get engaged in more communities like on Telegram. There are a lot of people talking about a lot of different things, such as internships, placements. You will find a lot more opportunities there for second year compared to any other platform, because there are some internships that are very rare for second year or first year. So I encourage you to go to those communities so that you can get the updates of whenever there is a drive for internship as well.
Okay, there are some other questions like many colleges are sending messages about internshala and winning an iPhone and like that, and where to get internships from. So talking about it, most of my internships I have got from internshala only. So like I have done two of my digital marketing internship and graphic development internship itself from internshala. I have like many people, what do they do? They make a there is a section in internshala that make your resume. So what do they do? They take it very carelessly. Yeah, okay. They take it very carelessly and they don't fill it, and then directly start applying for companies. So you just need to give some time in filling that application form. Tell about your details. If you have a portfolio of graphic designing, then it's best put your links on it and like that, and then start applying for companies. So you will get chances. Sometimes you will get rejected, but definitely you will get chance sometime. So when you get a chance, please be like attentive enough and like finish your projects that are given allotted to you in deadline, as the internship companies are very keen about it. Other question is, does certifications matter in interviews? uh, Talking about it, while applying for any company, there are some very renowned companies like in that now we are selected in TCS. There is a like after we got our offer letter, there is a section for us that add your certification details. But in that, only the certification details matter are only the professional ones. So if you are trying to talk about the certificates that you get from Udemy, Coursera, and all, it won't work. But if you have any professional training certificates or as well internship certificates or letter of recommendation, it does matter in intern while applying to a company, as the people who are recruiting will take it into consideration and will like give it will give you some advantage over others. There is one more question: how can
Yeah,
we
I would
start
also like
competitive
to add
coding from
regarding
first year?
internship.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah, so for internship, I have also gotten a few internships from Internshala. I got a 3D printing internship in Taloja, MIDC area. Uh, and like I would like to add on what Neha said, uh, while making an interview, do it properly. And in Internshala, when you are applying there, it has a section of why we should hire you. Please pay extra attention to that section, because before even going through the resume, the section that they first care about is what you have written in that why we should hire you section. So always uh, fill that section very carefully. And for other internships that I have done, I have gotten through college. So you can always contact your faculty. And I'm sure many faculties in our college help students try to get internship. In my first year, the internship that I got, Nidhi ma'am had helped me to get that internship. And in my mechanical department as well, professors helped me to get internships. So for internships, yes, contact your faculty and keep applying on Internshala and pay extra attention to why we should hire you section.
Yeah, Aniket, there is one question. How can we start competitive coding from first year? As I'm currently in first year and want to do competitive programming on code forces.
Yeah, actually, I would like to congratulate you that you even know about competitive programming in your first year. So that's already a good start. How to start it? I would like to tell you that first go for first go for data structures, and before data structures, obviously you need to do the prerequisites. You basically you need to know how the program is loaded into the main memory, data is loaded into the main memory, which is why data structures exist in the first place. So once you know about those basics, then you go for algorithms. You learn about them. There are some amazing courses on Coursera, and those courses are made by and curated by universities like Stanford and other universities. So once you have that theoretical knowledge, then you can go for courses of advanced algorithms and advanced data structures like tries and uh, trees, graphs and tries. uh, Once you have done the advanced courses, then you can actually start to code. But don't directly start from code forces. You will get overwhelmed with the amount of difficulty there. I would like to tell you that please start from Hacker Earth first. Then you can gradually go to lead code. Once you have done one list of patterns on lead code, then you can go to uh, code forces, and then you can continue your journey. Once you are following this journey and once you go to code forces, then you will not need any advice further, because there will be a community that you will know what will need to do, which is basically solve more and more coding questions. And I think you have enough time to do that, since you will be having at least 3 years now. So that's about it. And one more thing is that please do not start coding unless you know the theory behind it. And yeah, that's it, and all the best for your journey.
Yeah. Someone has asked right now, I don't have a laptop, so how should I manage? So, bro, I want to tell you a thing. It's a psychological thing that we tend to find excuses for ourselves to not do the work. So mostly we do कि हमारे पास ये नहीं है तो हमें ये नहीं करने जमेगा. Like that, we mostly think about that. So the thing is, bro, if you don't have a laptop, you do have a phone, right? So eventually you will be able to manage to get it. So right now, you if you have a phone, try to look into the documentation of frameworks of coding languages. They play a very important role. Like every time we have a doubt or any error, we directly go to Stack Overflow, but Stack Overflow tells us how to solve the doubt, but it doesn't tell us like how to efficiently solve the doubt. So if you read the documentations of any programming language or framework, it will be the best thing for you, and it will make your program more optimized and more efficient. And other thing is that if you don't have a laptop, just buy a keyboard and using USB OTG connect to your phone, and there are many online sites which provide online compilers and you can work with it. Just don't find excuses to your growth. That's it from my side. There are more questions like, sir, how is working in startup different from established companies? Kshitij?
The major difference is basically in a startup, there isn't much of a structure and your role isn't defined. So when you are working in a big corporation, you will have a defined role and there will be a structure. You will have your peers whom you will report your progress, your basically you will be given job, you will complete it, you will report it to someone. When you're working in a startup, depending on how big that startup is, your role can go from anywhere from arranging the documents to completing the entire project start to end, or working on some, like, in a startup your role can be anything. And that depends upon what stage that startup is. Actually, if you are the one starting it, then everything you have to do it, from funding to, approaching clients, working on the project. But if you are going to a startup which is like, which has been there for a few years and has a bunch of employees, then there will be a bit of a defined role. But still, the main difference is that of a structure. In a bigger corporation, you don't, you are basically given a set of job and you have to do that. In a startup, there is no particular set of defined job for you. uh, so that's the major and only difference.
Yeah. Any other questions? So someone has asked, please suggest me some platforms where we can start learning coding, and it will be very helpful if you suggest a YouTube channel. So, according to me, like in this COVID situation, the college, there was a very excellent opportunity given by Coursera to our college, that they were providing most of their coding services free for our college. So I took the opportunity out of it, and applied to a lot of courses. And except that, there are many free courses also available on Udemy and all. So there, but the thing is that the certifications won't matter. So that if you think that if I have certificate of this and I apply to a company showing this certificate, they won't consider it. And any other thing like any other suggestions, Aniket or Kshitij?
Yeah, I think what he's asking is okay. Yeah, so platforms, as I mentioned earlier, for coding, you can start the basics with Hacker Earth or Hacker Rank. Then you can, if you want to level up in that field, you can go to Lead Code. And if you want to level up even further, then you can go to Code Forces. And regarding the YouTube channels, I personally do not follow any YouTube channel for coding, so I will not be able to recommend anything. But for regarding courses, as Nihar mentioned earlier, I think between these three platforms of Udemy, Coursera, and say edX, I say you should go for Coursera, mainly because the certifications and the courses are designed by universities in the US, as opposed to Udemy, where individual creators or teachers are launching the courses. So there is a lot of skill gap, that we can say, or also experience gap, as we can say. Although some people might prefer Udemy teachers better than Coursera ones, but I think in industries as well, if you want to choose, then Coursera certificates hold a lot more weightage in the industry than the other platforms.
So let's take a last question. It's that in an interview, what is the best reply to how much salary do you expect? Actually, Vriksh, this question is not asked for freshers, as they know that freshers don't have much experience. So whenever you apply to any other company that is for freshers, they mostly have defined their package. So it's a fixed package. If you have experience in a particular field, and you are applying to company, on basis of your experience, like you have more than 2 years of experience, then you can eventually, that experience defines how much that you should get. So at that period of time, you will be able to know that how much amount you should get and what are your expectations from the company. So that's an apt period of time to answer the question. I think yes, you can go forward.
Okay. Thank you everyone for your wonderful questions. So I would like ma'am to tell about the Vishniketan current placement updates.
Yes, Kshitij, Aniket, and Nihar, you conducted your sessions very well. You have tried to answer most of the questions which were asked by the students based on maybe internships or maybe your experience and technical stuff, all that. So you almost covered most of the questions there. So, but I will just briefly review certain things. So that because we have first year students, we have second year students, and then final year students are also there in this session. For them, I would like to just brief because these students, whatever achievements they have done or whatever placements they could achieve, it's completely based on their performance, right? So we nobody can take that credit because they have cracked so many those aptitude tests and appeared for those exams and cleared those interviews and technical and HR sessions. Okay, so completely it is their credit and no one can take that credit. So first of all, congratulations to all those selected in TCS, and I think most of you have more than one offers, right? So you have good experience in appearing for interview and cracking that. So you share that with the students. That is very important because most of the students are new year first year students are there. So it's very nice that you share that. I would like to just add to that because there are certain things because you have to work on that. What we see right now, there are certain aptitude sessions. There are for these people who were selected on for TCS, we conducted one mock interview also. I hope that was helpful for them because some tips were given, some this actual mock interview was conducted by the expert there, and definitely it would have helped them a lot with the basic preparations. No, nothing that is, we cannot say ki only mock helped or only that. No, it just helped them to experience what type of questions can be there, and they will highlight maybe by when in the concluding session, maybe they will take this also. That is what they have to highlight also. So just while concluding, you just you can just talk on these mock interviews or how they should prepare for that aptitude and all that. So important thing is prepare yourself with the technically. You have to know the basics because if you are wrong at your basics, then the impression goes there. If you don't know say बहुत ज्यादा डीप में अगर नहीं आया तो भी चलता है, बट अगर आपको बेसिक्स पूछा आपके सब्जेक्ट का, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स हो या कंप्यूटर हो या मैकेनिकल सिविल, आपको बेसिक अगर नहीं आया तो वो वहां पे निगेटिव जाता है. So you have to be very perfect on your basics. Go for that aptitude and those preparation. There are so many things available on net. So many company specific tests are there. Vishwaniketan carries out those aptitude sessions. Right now, we started with internal faculty. There was external agency up till now. So again, we are going to plan for the third year students in the coming days to come. So those preparations will be done. That is an opportunity given by the college, but the efforts are yours. Don't forget that the efforts is yours. You have to put maximum efforts, and then nobody will take away your opportunity, right? So you have to be preparing yourself mentally. You have to prepare that. First thing, you should be clear because there were some questions on startup, there were some questions. So you have to be very clear whether you want to go for higher studies, whether you want to go for placement, or you want to go for startup. When you once decide you want to go for placement, never in the interview talk about your own startup there, because they will clearly take it that this student is not interested in placement, he want to go for his startup. So you have to be very clear. आपको हायर स्टडीज में जाना है, आपको स्टार्टअप कर आपका खुद का स्टार्टअप में आपको प्रोग्रेस करना है, या यू वांट टू गो फॉर प्लेसमेंट, राइट? सो दैट चॉइस यू हैव टू मेक एंड अकॉर्डिंगली यू हैव टू टेक दोस डिसीजंस एंड गो अहेड. बट बेसिक्स जो यहाँ पे कॉलेज पे मिल रहा है उसको आप वी आर सीइंग वेरी पुअर. So from some branches people are not very serious about things which are being taken for them. तो आपको वो अपॉर्चुनिटी मिस नहीं करनी है. You try to be there. जो सीखते हैं वो वेस्ट नहीं जाता है. It is always going to help you out. So just see to it कि you just uh, attend all those things there and try to make your basics right there. Regarding your placement, coming placements that are going to happen, we are in the process of couple of companies we are lining up. Pool campuses का डाल रही हूँ, Infosys का आया है, Capgemini का आया है. So many things we have posted in the last couple of days. So be there, see the deadlines, appear for that, and try giving maximum. Nothing goes waste. Initially maybe somewhere you will feel कि मैं crack नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ या I'm not able to, but eventually you will be getting those opportunities. You will crack those opportunities whatever are coming in your place. So just concentrate on that. Be alert on what companies are coming and what are the things you're supposed to do. So be very alert on that, and try to participate in the drives or maybe aptitude test or whatever we are giving it for you, along with whatever you do outside. So that is also welcome. So just go ahead with your plans, what you want to do, and we are there to help you out. Okay, internship, there were so many questions from first year. Internship ke liye few they mentioned, but AICT internships are there. So you can just go to that portal, AICT internship, and then you as a student you have to join, and there are so many options there. Online internships are there. So just go visit those portals and see what opportunity you have for yourself. Don't stick to the core branch. There is always, because mechanical, civil, these people have told what their experiences. They were from mechanical, they were from EXTC. Electrical, unfortunately, this year nobody was able to crack that. But they people hire, Infosys hire, Siemens. One opportunity was created initially in last 2-3 days. We just posted that Siemens is also open for all branches. So don't restrict yourself to the core branch. Along with the core branch, go for some coding also. That definitely helps. Okay, so that will be from my side. Anything, any help from my side, you can always contact me. I'm always there for your queries. You can take the numbers from these coordinators. If you have any queries, you can just contact me, right? So this is from my side, Nihar. You can conclude the session.
Yeah, I actually additional to your point, as you said कि हाँ opportunities है, but students are neglecting that. So let me tell you the opportunities that we got. Actually, the first thing is that in our third year there is a counseling company which has a link with our college named as Campus Credential. They gave us the whole aptitude training, technical material, even for coding and all. They also took mock interviews for us before applying into any company. And other than that, in your second year or your third year, there is a company named Zensar, which conducts a program named as ESD program. So in that program, besides your WAP and PBL, it's a program in which you will be first they will take the examination for selection of students. So the examination will be basic aptitude exam, and the students who will get selected, they are given the chance to learn different technologies. Like Zensar is a very big company from Pune, and they have international connections too. So many teachers from trainers from industry come to teach yourself, and every semester you have a 7 days learning training workshop, and after that you have to make projects. It's different from PBL as it's more professional, and it's different from WAP as it's more professional and advanced. So do try to crack that, the Ansar ESD program. Yeah, that's it from my side. Shreyas, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful words and helping out the students. Hope they will not miss any opportunity further which they will get. And I will also like to thank Aniket, Nihar, and Sitij for sharing your wonderful experience about your placements and answering all the questions of the students of all the year. And lastly, I would like to thank everyone who attended the meeting and stay home, stay safe. Jai Hind.